what it is you need to be able to make a card. It's one of the most emailed. Guys, welcome to PM Stampin's first ever video. I just want to really touch base about what it is you need to be able to make a card. It's one of the most emailed comments that I get is that people don't want to get into card making because they have to buy too much stuff. They've seen the big shots and the dies, and it's maybe freaked them out ever so slightly. Yeah, you know what? These items are absolutely fantastic. I would not be without them, but I didn't start that way. I didn't practice that way. I haven't grown that way. I started off really simple, and I want to show you that you can too. Okay, the basis for any card is cardstock. I always have Whisper White in my collection. Always. I can't remember the last time I made a card and it didn't have Whisper White in it, so that's always a staple. And coloured cardstock. I prefer A4 size. You can get them in 12 by 12s, but I like A4 size, and I get them in packs with different colours so that I can just pick and choose what I want when I want. I always have to hand a DSP. So this is one that I currently have that I absolutely adore. It's actually the third set of this that I've bought. I love it. But it's a whole pack. Everything is double-sided. So there are plenty of options. You can buy cardstocks that match these colour schemes just to make life a lot easier. They are so fun. I just love them. So this is a Little Foxy Designer Series paper stack. But you can also buy them, some of them. This is beautiful. This is the Floral Boutique. Again, double-sided, but these are in 12 by 12s. Making cards is so much easier with DSPs in your life. So something like Balloon Celebration, this was the first stamp set I ever bought. It's actually a two-step stamp. So you stamp your balloon and then you can stamp your little like shading, and it comes with the sentiments. So I like these for your first ones. I just think they're absolutely fantastic. It has everything that you need to make a card right in this box. I'm the biggest fan of photopolymer stamps. I love them. I love how I can like bend them ever so slightly and just get them exactly where I want them. I love that they're see-through, so that when I have them on one of my blocks, I can see right through it and get it exactly where I need it to be. And they're by far my favourites, but most of the stamp sets do also come in the wood mounts also, if they are your cup of tea. The thing I like about this is it does tell me about what block sizes I need. So this stamp set tells me that I need a H, a D and a B. I have a H and a D. I don't actually have the B, but if I need to use it for any of the smaller ones, I have other blocks that I can use. I have a G and I have a C, and eventually I'll get around to buying the B, but I haven't got it yet, and it's not the end of the world. With it being the slightly smaller side, you just shove it on a bigger one and just be a bit more careful about how you ink them up, really. But don't get too bogged down that you need all of them. As long as you've got something that'll cover all the bases, happy days. So I've got my cardstock, got my DSP, got my blocks, got my stamp set. I need some glue of some description. Stampin' Up sells loads and loads. As you can see, these are definitely my favourite. They are completely disgusting. I use them all the time. Tombow is the way forward. It is a liquid glue with a little fine thing. You just blow up, happy days. I like it mainly because it gives me that little bit of wiggle room. So I can set up my card and, oh, it's not quite right. And I have that little bit of, that is totally a word, I have that bit of wiggle room and it saves my life all the time. I do also have a snail adhesive. It is permanent. It's one of those that you just press down, done. I do use this when I know that I'm gonna get it right first time, but once these are down, they're down. They don't have the wiggle room, so I have to be careful with my snail. And I would not be without these bad boys. These are our Stampin' Up Dimensionals. They are $3.75, I do believe, for a pack of 300 or something ridiculous. They are double-sided stickied, and they just give your cards a bit of dimension. Thus the name. Wouldn't be without them. Absolutely adore them. But do you know what? Actually, they're a bit of a luxury. As long as I have like my Tombow, I could make a card. I don't need everything else really. To make a card, Tombow, and I'd be happy. Again, another little bit of a luxury is my bone holder. It is again disgusting. I use these things way too much. Just to make my cards crisp and all my lines and creases nice and crisp. Again, it's a luxury, I don't need it. But I wouldn't be without it now. Punches. Again, to be fair, these are not a necessity at all. So when I bought the balloon celebration set, I used to fussy cut the balloons out. It took me quite a long time. They weren't always very straight. I am rubbish at cutting. But you know what? It's doable. It was fine. Like, I could do it. It was fine. It's just so much easier with this bad boy. But you know what? Like, I didn't need it. It just makes my life easier and quicker and happier. So I love a punch. And there are so many stamp sets that have coordinating punches. The Flower Shop, I abuse this daily. It's one of my favourite stamp sets ever. And I used to fussy cut those out as well, and I don't need to anymore. You will need something to cut your cardstock in half for your card bases. Stampin' Up have a trimmer. If you're really good, you could use scissors, a craft knife. Again, it's one of those things, if you could, I think a trimmer just makes life so much easier. Okay, the next thing I want to talk to you about is ink. If I was going to tell anybody to buy any specific coloured ink, this would be it. Basic black. I made a month's worth of cards just with basic black, no other colour whatsoever. If you've got your DSP, that adds the colour in for you, the coloured cardstock. I bought one stamp and it was basic black. And I can't remember the last time I didn't make a card that had this in. I just can't remember. Maybe I did, but I can't remember. So add that to your list, basic black. After that, it's all about personal preference. I have bought the colours that I have wanted in that moment with that idea in my head. I apparently like the whole green spectrum that features quite heavily. I went through Christmas and decided these two. This is all I used for Christmas, these and the black. These two here. Real red and garden green. I bought Night of Navy just because it had to go with my Floral Boutique DSP, which I'd fallen in love with. Mint Macaroon was the first colour that I think I'd bought after the black, just because I love it. It is just beautiful. Tip Top Taupe and Watermelon Wonder I just liked, and Cucumber Crush, so decided to buy them. One of the things I would say is absolutely, like, it has to be something that you want and that you enjoy. You can buy them all individually, which is actually what I've done. Or you can buy them in sets of 5s for the colours, the colour groups, which is probably a much more economical way to do it. And I think I'm going to have to look into that at some point, and it might get me out of the green spectrum slightly, but that is where I like to be, apparently. I just want to show you this. I just want to show you this because I've mentioned it, the Flower Shop. It is one of my absolute favourites. I didn't get this in photopolymer because I don't think it came in photopolymer. It looks just like these. You can tell which ones I use the most. They do clean really well. It's just because I use Stays On Black ink on them that they stained. But they're loved. That is what they are. They are loved. There's 6 stamps. There is no sentiment with these ones, which is why I think that the balloon celebration's a really good one, because it has the sentiment as well for a starting one, but they all just live in there. And again, it has the punch, and I adore it. Favourite one. And that leads me to these. So these are some of the cards that I have made using some of the stamp sets you've seen, a lot of the colours that you've seen, the papers, the DSPs that I've shown you. And this is what you can create, and it really, really doesn't take a lot. They have ink, they have paper, they have DSP, and they have glue. That is it. It really isn't any more serious than that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you a bit of an insight of what you do need to make a card and what you can maybe get away with for a little while. Don't get me wrong, you are dragged into everything by the end of it. It just gets addictive. But I hope I gave you a bit of a realisation that you don't need to buy a whole catalogue just to make some really fantastic cards. If you would like any more information, I will leave my email address for you. If you'd like to have a browse of any of the Stampin' Up products, I will leave you a link so that you can go and have a browse and look at those. And I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, please just let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much. Bye.